Firefighter Haberlin is attempting to make a purchase point where the door meets the fender by squeezing the door in the position that he has the tools right now. It does not appear to be working that great. Now that the tool, it does have, I guess I should say this now. My understanding is that these tools have like 2 stages. So like they'll move quickly until they feel like they're out of power, and then it'll kick in like this second stage, and it'll have more power, but it'll be like super slow. And that's that noise you'll hear, like that high-pitched whining. It should still be going. Firefighter Haberlin is once again trying to make a purchase point where the door meets the fender by distorting the metal from the door and the A pillar. Gap starting to form close to the top of the hinge. And we can keep going as long as that tool still has some stroke in it, and you just keep going. I mean, even doing this might even pop that door. Yeah, it's starting to rip the metal there. Yeah. That is normally when we stop spreading, is either when the tool fucking runs out of power, it runs out of stroke, or we start peeling the metal away. And we try, stand by, to not be between the tool in the car. Okay. So if you were on the other side of the tool,
where I really want to be is on that hinge, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It may take a couple times to get it there. What they generally teach is just keep power in it until something gives. Like even if unless you're peeling away at the skin, then just to give it all it's got and then reposition. Is to open it like 2 inches and then reposition, and then open it like 2 inches and reposition, and then open it like 2 inches and reposition. Like right now, you should be able to just keep going. It's gonna catch on something. You can see it's still moving, right? Unless you're peeling the skin away from the door,
then I'm good.
Like, yeah, see, and that's even fine. Keep going.
That's what we want to do right there.
That is. So even though the tools weren't exactly where you thought you wanted them, if it still has stroke and it's not slipping out, it's still biting, then just keep going. Something's going to give around it. It may not be like on the hinge, which is what we were kind of after initially, but something like that is absolutely fine. Gotcha. Right now, Firefighter Davis is attempting to make a purchase point at the nadir pin side or the passenger side front door. A couple different options to choose from. He chose the Halligan bar, the adze end. Let's see if this works out. I'm afraid he's going to grab more skin than. That was sweet. Right. Try the fender pinch.
Hold on. Make sure you, before you ever do that, make sure you get in here and do a Halligan or something to find the strut tower. Because if you clamp down on that fender and you hit the strut, what is it? Where are you saying? Because if he clamps and for some reason the strut's mounted out here or something, he clamps down on that gas strut, his fluid like he's hitting that more here. Yeah. Stay away from it.
Remember, the most power using leverage is like furthest away from the tool. So like the very, very tips are what's going to have the most power. So we try, like when we clamped down on the door, it was, it was buried all the way to the inside of the tool, and there's just not a lot of power there compared to the tips. But with the door, you know, we try to get down, there's no other way to do the door. With the fender, you should be able to get just the tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels. Gap that was created between the fender and the door using a fender instrument. You'll be able to clearly see now the strut the firefighter noose is talking about that you want to stay off of. Not only is that a pressurized cylinder, but that is a structural member of the car, and that is not going to be bent and distorted as easily as the thin metal fender.
Killeen Fire Department structure 4506 Lori Drive. Parking. Party 1, map 73.
Normally we use the full stroke until it maxes out, but firefighter Davis noticed that he was starting to peel the skin away from the door. That's why he switched it on.
Killeen engine 7, engine 5, engine 8, rescue 2, bat 2, medic 22, possible structure 4506 Lori Drive.
Watch yourself. Got the cutter?
What do you think? Cut those wires. To roll the dash, we don't necessarily have to remove the roof, but we're gonna make some cuts in this area anyway, so it wouldn't hurt to remove the roof. But again, you don't have to. What I want to remind you guys is that when we roll the dash, we need to crib under the rocker panel around where the tire is. And the reason for that is we need to support the back 3/4 of the car. But once we make our cuts here, tendency of the front end of the car with the engine and the back end of the car to both come down into the ground is possible. So if we crib under the rocker panel, then that'll keep the back 3/4 of the car supported. When we roll the dash, it's essentially going to drive the front bumper into the ground and pick the dash up into the air. But we need to support under there to make that happen.
And a lot of
And we don't want to, we're not trying to move this down, we're trying to move that up.
Exactly.
So
Now we
without
want that
cribbing,
to stay stationary.
hence the cribbing. Yep.
yeah, just whenever you're
Using the spreaders on one side instead of the cylinder. Now remember the cylinder at the B post up to the A post, the cylinder is somewhat in your way. So on this side we're going to use the spreaders, and because of that, the spreaders will essentially be right here and they'll be out of the way. They don't have quite as much power as the cylinder does, but the benefit is that it's out of the way. If you're going to be using the cylinder, which is what we're using on the other side, then when you cut this A pillar, you need to make sure that you have enough room here, that you have enough material and enough meat to place the cylinder. All right, we tend to sometimes cut this too shy, and there's nothing for the cylinder to grab, especially at the angle when it
Cut it
starts
up
to
high.
bend this instead of pushing the truck. So, understand that if you cut it here, you have plenty of material, but this can somewhat be in the way of removing your victim. If we cut it down here, we don't have a good solid point for our cylinder. So I like to, somewhere in this area, when we go to cut it with the shears, leave enough to get some meat, but not enough that it's in the way of your patient. Firefighter toolbar, now cutting the A pillar in preparation for a dash roll using the spreaders. So we're going to use the shears to cut the A pillar, leaving enough meat in the dash area to apply the cylinder if needed, but not so much that we have a hard time getting the patient out. With that cut made, he's now going down to the A pillar where it meets the rocker panel. We're going to make 2 cuts pretty close together to create a gap large enough to place the tips of the spreaders. You can see we have placed some cribbing under the rocker panel that act as a support when we go to actually roll the dash itself, so that we don't drive the rocker panel into the ground.
Now grab here, Mark. See where the hole is? Grab here and here.
Get in there.
Now just close it down on that. As much as you can. Hammer that fender down that corner. There you go. There you go. That should be good, Mark.
So
It'll make a hole.
conventional dash roll would apply a hydraulic cylinder from the A pillar to at the top to the B pillar at the bottom. So we would use the hydraulic cylinder to roll the dash. Here, the unconventional,
Put that out of the way.
attempting to use the hydraulic spreaders to roll the dash. And we have made a relief cut on the A pillar, 2 relief cuts on the B pillar, and a relief cut behind the strut. We can see a little bit of deflection. If we can't get what we need, you can also move to the driver's side and make relief cuts there. You can always see maybe.
Moving out.
Yeah.
Again, no relief cuts currently on the driver's side.
Look at that. Sweet.
Is it applying pressure to those to that cribbing, Mark? Can you move those at all?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Keep going.
As far as it'll go. Yeah. All right, that'll do right there. All right, so we would leave it currently.
Yeah, you leave it
I'll
over
leave
We
now.
wouldn't leave it, and we would have this space to remove the victim. And again, the benefit of doing this over the hydraulic cylinder is that the cylinder is not in the way of removing the patient.
Yeah.
Our tools and lifting equipment is all out of the way. And again, no relief cuts on the driver's side. This was all done on the passenger side. Did not have to remove the roof.
But you see, if you don't make this cut right
Relief cut up here as well.
We again, you can, you don't have to, but as you
Let's
saw
see
on
what
the
it
other
does
side-
without it.
Okay, you try without it first.
It has to be the adds towards him. All right, and another thing to bring up, because you're going to be applying a lot of pressure, we don't carry ram box like the rescue truck and the new engines have ram box that fit on this right here on your B post, so you can do it. Since we don't have it, we need to take an axe wherever you want your spot to drive from. Otherwise, you're driving your floor down in the ground.
Right.
And take your spike and just drive it with an axe down into the rocker panel. No, the Halligan tool, take it, turn it,
That's what you're saying now.
sit here, and then you use the adz end as your ram block.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Yeah. I guess we're going to place the Halligan bar to act as a brace for the bottom end of the cylinder. Like this bar here.
No, like, turn it this way. Somebody holds it here. You can drive.
All right, let me get on that side.
That. Just push this to the side like this, and then once it starts applying perfectly look, line up on this. Alright.
Get that. I know we left a lot of meat on the A-pillar, but you want it as low on the A-pillar as possible. The further out you are,
Alright, you
more
ready?
leverage it
I'm
has
getting
to
out of
bend
the way.
A-pillar instead of-
Everybody get out of the way of that.
Okay, we got a good set on top and bottom. Now I'm gonna roll it.
Just ripping that out. There it goes. It's gone. There you go. Ripping that now.
Okay.
That's why the ram blocks are so much better. But
Can I
try the B
do
pillar.
we have
now.
enough
Yeah.
extension?
Yep. It has 2 stages.
Then it even screws out, doesn't it?
No, it'll. This one just extends 2 stages.
But I think on the bottom it actually extends or screws out.
You're just driving this now. Hey.
That's probably good right there. We're starting to push because we've essentially made a relief cut like in the middle of the car and starting to kind of turn that into a V. I feel like that's plenty of room. What's the method? So one way of doing the roof that provides less cuts is to take a striking tool like a flathead axe or a Halligan and make a crease right before the back window. Right, so we're creasing all the way across, and then we end up cutting just the A and B pillar, and we essentially fold it, and the crease that we made here would be a hinge. So that's one way. And this, something like this isn't very thick, but like a 2-door sedan, like a Mustang or something where the C-pillar is like really wide, and you'd have to make several cuts with the shears to get through it, or you may not be able to get through it at all, then we can crease the roof right before the C-pillar and just fold it back. A roof flap versus a roof removal. Here we should be able to do a total roof removal. We've already cut the A-post on both sides to do our dash roll. When we cut the B-pillar, I would like to get as much of it out of the way as possible, so when we go to remove our victim, it's not in the way. But again, as it tapers as it goes down to the rocker panel, and if it gets too wide, we'll have to make multiple cuts with the shears, and I like a one-cut type deal. So as far down as we can go. We've already peeked to make sure there's no pressurized cylinders back here, and if there were, we would just go like above or below again. Same thing on the passenger side. So we should be able to cut this at least one cut from the front and one cut from the back. Have at it, Chris. Not somebody in the back seat to remove, I wouldn't bother removing the back.